Do you ever wash your locks and dry them and then go to sleep only to wake up the next morning and your locks smell kind of musty, or they kind of smell like mildew or something that you don't want it to smell like? How do you dry your locks without getting that smell, and how do you dry your locks fully without them getting damaged? I've had my locks for 5 years and I'm semi-free-forming. I have a great method for people who don't want to damage their locks, who don't want to use heat or any type of air or low manipulations on their locks. So yeah, keep watching. So first off, why drying your locks is so important. We spend a lot of time maintaining our hair, and locks are like a foundation. So locks are a bundle of different hairs that otherwise, if you didn't have locks, you would lose those hairs, right? But because you have locks, all your hairs from months or sometimes even years, in most cases, in me, 5 years, all of those hairs that I grow get tangled up inside the lock. So it's important to not only keep your locks clean, but also keep them smelling right. And drying them properly is one of the main ways that you can keep them clean and keep them smelling clean, not just looking clean. So the first thing about drying your locks, it happens before you even dry your hair. It happens when you maintain your locks in between washes. I always say, do not use thick products on your locks. That means products that are not water-based. And even some water-based products can be really thick, but especially no to these type of products. Beeswax, heavy gels, and thick oils and butters. Big red X and big red no to those things. Why? Because you use those products, especially if you have thicker locks like me, they can get stuck in your locks. And over time, if you keep using those products, it will cause more buildup in your locks, which will cause more difficulty for you to keep your locks clean. Here's the secret. I've never done a apple cider vinegar detox, lemon, that whole concoction. I've never done a detox on my locks. And look, they're still lively, they still move. There's not much buildup in my locks. If there is, it's from lint. One of the ways that you can distract lint from getting in your locks is by using less thick products. Lint can also contribute to a more difficult time drying your locks. If you have thicker locks like me, over time using more products will take more time to dry your locks, which in turn can lead to more of a mildew smell when you go to dry your locks. Some of you all have complained that when you air dry your locks, you experience it taking a longer time to dry, and you sometimes go to sleep thinking that your locks are dry, and then you wake up in the next morning with a mildew smell in your locks. One of the main reasons that happens is because of buildup in your locks. Because if you think about it, if you go to sleep thinking that your locks are dry, it's probably because to the touch, they feel dry. But on the inside, if you squeeze your lock, and this is especially if you have thicker locks, you'll find that you hear that squishy sound, like it's like a sponge. Because oftentimes when you have a lot of buildup or a lot of lint in your locks, it is like a sponge. However, I always air dry my locks, and I'm gonna show you and tell you how I do it correctly without my locks smelling like mildew and while drying them really fast. But hey, if you're thinking about starting a freeform lock journey, a semi-freeform lock journey, or you have traditional locks and you're just thinking about how to maintain them better and you want to know some lock tips, then subscribe to my channel, because I talk about my lock journey all the time, what I've learned along the way, and hopefully some tips to help you, because they've helped thousands of people before. So I'm pretty sure you'll like it here. Give this video a like and then also subscribe. So before you think about how to dry your locks, number one, think about the climate that you live in. I've almost always lived in a humid climate all of my life, so I'm used to there being humidity in the air. Because of that, I know what I know how my hair responds to the climate that I'm in. If I lived in a drier climate, potentially I would have more of a battle with dry hair and dry scalp, because there wouldn't be as much moisture in the air. But here's my tips for both climates. If you're in a humid climate, I would recommend air drying your hair indoors. If you air dry your hair inside, regardless of the climate, then it will be better for your locks. If you live in a drier climate and you know how your hair responds to that climate, then I think it's okay to air dry your hair, maybe outside. But if you live in a drier climate and you find that because of that, your hair and scalp oftentimes gets itchy, then I would consider air drying your hair indoors. In none of these cases would I recommend blow drying your hair, because that's kind of like a last resort. So let's talk about how I air dry my hair efficiently. Because I have thicker locks, I want them to dry as fast as possible. You can put your locks in sections. And this is for thicker locks, thinner locks, whether you have 70, how many locks do I have? I keep on forgetting. Whether you have 68 locks like me, or whether you have 100 locks, or whether you have micro locks or sister locks, this works for all type of locks. Although I will say that I think air drying micro locks or sister locks, or anyone with like more than 100 locks, I think that you would be able to air dry your locks faster than someone with thicker locks. I still recommend this method. I section off my hair every time I wash my hair. So after washing, when I dry my hair, the first thing I do is I use a microfiber towel to start to dry off my hair. So this is my microfiber towel that I just bought from somewhere online. And since buying it, my hair is actually too long to like go inside, because it's basically like a hood, right, where you can put your hair inside. But if I put this hood on, put it on, and then here's the bottom of the towel, here's my hair. So I used to use this and put my whole head in, but now I just kind of take it and then squeeze it on my hair to dry it. The reason I would recommend using microfiber is because it doesn't snag on your hair, and microfiber actually helps your hair dry faster. So for a few minutes after I wash my hair, I have it in a t-shirt. So I blot it with the microfiber towel, and I do this number right here. Then I wrap it in a t-shirt, because my t-shirt is longer than the microfiber towel. And I wrap it in a t-shirt, and then I put a little bun on it. So then like most of the excess moisture the moisture that I can squeeze out, I can just squeeze it out into the t-shirt. So I usually have that on for maybe about 10 minutes. After I moisturize it, then I section my hair. This is the magic thing that's gonna help your hair dry faster. And this is what I do. I put it in 3 sections. So I take this first, which is like a satin scrunchie, because again, we don't want any snagging on our locks. And then I put it in 3 sections. So I part it down the middle like this, and then I just part this part, right? And then I'll put it in some ponytails on either side of my head like this, and then the other side I'll put it like this. So the reason I do this one is because it provides a free space in the middle for my scalp to breathe. And when my hair is all down, the hair on the top is covering the hair on the bottom. So then the hair in the bottom isn't getting any air or any free space to start to dry. But with this method, right, like the hair in the back is not covered. My hair grows in layers. It's always grown in layers. So if I were to cut my hair all one length, it would start to grow back longer on the bottom and shorter on the top. It just grows like that. It always has. So this provides the back of my hair time to dry first, and the back of my hair usually dries within like 2 to 3 hours if I air dry it. Then after the back dries and my roots are already dry in the middle of my head, then I can take these out and let the top dry. And the top is going to dry faster than the back, probably because I have a middle part. So the roots of the top of my head and the sides are getting more air exposure. That way, if I section off my hair, it just dries a lot quicker for me. And this is what works for me. If you find that sectioning off your hair like that doesn't really work well for you, then you could create more sections. Maybe 4 sections on the top and then leave the back out. If you find that your locks take more than 6 to 10 hours to dry, I would recommend maybe doing a lock detox because maybe you have too much buildup in your locks. Because buildup does significantly increase the time that it takes your locks to dry. And you can do a lock detox by going to a loctician. You don't have to get a full service from them like retwist if you don't retwist your locks, because I don't retwist my locks. Or you could look up some YouTube videos if you feel like doing it yourself, if you only want yourself to touch your locks. But I would recommend you doing a lock detox. What other videos do you want to see from me? Comment them down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, y'all. Peace.